I've read not one, not two, not three, but 9 Penelope Douglas books. 9.
I was 9!
And today, we're here to talk about Birthday Girl. So, hey guys, Hylas here. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're starting a new series that I'm gonna be calling Underlined. Because if you know me, you know I underline absolutely everything out of my books. And I think this could be fun. In this series, I'm going to be talking about taboo, dark romance, whatever. Fantasy if you'd like. We're going to talk about books with a lot of spoilers, where I'm going to tell you the whole story because I know there's a lot of people who want to know what happens in these books, but they just don't want to read them. So we're going to be talking about them. And if you're shaking a bit, it's because of the setup. Firstly, let's talk about the books that I've read by Penelope Douglas. I started by reading Punk 57 was my first Penelope Douglas book. This one is in Portuguese. I read it when I was 16 and I absolutely loved it. I think Misha was amazing. Then I read Bully because I couldn't get The Devil's Night, so I had to fill my void with something else. So I did read Bully. And then I read the Devil's Night series. Amazing. Kai Mori is my top 1 book boyfriend and has been for years. More than 2 years, so we're still going strong. Then I also read, but that one I read on my Kindle. I read Thirst 6 Venom, and no. I was so happy to read like woman loving woman book. Yay, let's go. And it was disappointing. And now there's like the book called Five Brothers that's like connected to the story. I don't want to go there. But yeah, let's start talking about Birthday Girl. If you don't know anything about this book, basically there's a girl and a guy and they're a couple, and then she gets with his father. Yay! Yeah, that's basically the story that happens, and we're going to deep dive into it. So I'm gonna introduce you to our 3 most important characters. First we have Jordan. She's 19, she works in a bar, and she's a student. Then we have Cole. I don't really know what Cole does. Like, genuinely ask me, I couldn't tell you. And I read the book. And I analyzed the book. And I listened to people talking about the book. And I'm still not sure about what he does. And then we have Pike. Pike is Cole's father. And he owns a construction business. He's this hardworking man, wakes up 5 a.m. every day. As I've said, Cole and Jordan are in a relationship, but they're having money problems, and also they lived in an apartment, but Cole was always throwing parties, so they had to leave. And the only solution was to go and live with Pike, which is Cole's father. So the story starts on Jordan's birthday. She's working at the bar. She's like, yay, party. And when she gets out of the bar, she's waiting for Cole to go to the movies. But Cole is not there, is not answering his phone. So she just goes. So she enters the movies and she sits down next to this older man. And she holds a box of donuts that her boss gave her at the bar. And she's like, oh yeah, they start talking. It's my birthday. I have these donuts. Do you want to share? And yeah, there's tension, and you see like, wow, this is wow. So yeah, they watch the movie. You get to know that she's like obsessed with the 80s. She's like, yeah, the 80s are the shit. Yeah, I love it. I'm so 80s girly, whatever. It's a bit annoying. It is, but it's fine. And well, they finish watching the movie, and then she calls Cole, and Pike is like, wait, Cole Lawson? That's my son. And that's how the story starts. As I've said before, they had to leave their apartment, so they go into Pike's house, and she didn't know that was Pike. And it's crazy. But yeah, they go to the house and they start living there, but they never tell Cole that they had already met before, so it's a bit awkward. They're like, okay, this man that I just, had an almost crazy date night, yeah, now I live with him, and he is my boyfriend's father. We get to know that Cole never had a really good relationship with Pike, mainly because of his mom. Something I will get more into in the future, but yeah, they didn't have the closest relationship ever, but yeah, they talk, and it's okay to live. And what we know about Jordan is that our father lives in a trailer park with our stepmom, and they are a bit weird. Not much is mentioned at the beginning, so we're just like, okay, she doesn't want to go there. So when they move in, we start to get to know more about their daily lives, and Jordan starts to talk to us, the reader, how she is like best friends with Cole, and they have this matching scar on their, like, I would say it's like around here, not sure though. They have this scar on their hands with, like, it's Cole, Jordan, and another person, and we never know who that person truly is, but yeah, these 3 people have this connection. And then she also starts talking about Jay, that is her ex-boyfriend, and he did her wrong. He hurted her, and she was kind of, at the time, she was afraid to do something, but she should have done because he beat her up. Yeah, traumatizing past, as always. What we get to know is that this ex, Jay, he's still friends with Cole. That's an amazing thing to know, seriously. If my boyfriend was friends, like almost best friends with my ex, I would kill myself. No. And before getting into like more of the plot, Jordan has a sister. Her name is Kim. She has a son. She is a stripper, and she's always telling Jordan she could go work at the Hook. It's the name of the bar, because they make great money and they don't need to do a lot, just dancing, whatever. But Jordan is not that type of girl, I guess. She literally says that. She's not the type of girl. She doesn't want to go there. But yeah, and throughout the whole book, her sister is going to be like, you could always work here. You could always go to the Hook, whatever. So after they move in to pay their stay, they basically have to do house chores. So like cooking, cleaning, doing the garden, whatever. That's how they're gonna pay Pike to be there, because obviously he doesn't want money, because they are saving money to go get another apartment if they can in the future. And right at the beginning, we see that Cole is never at home. He's always out, always partying. Jordan even says that back when they were in the other apartment, she was the one like almost paying for everything, and he was always like spending his money on parties and going out, and like never trying to commit to building a life. He's 19. I can excuse that. He's 18 and let him have his life. Like, a bit irresponsible of you, but okay. In this house is not going to be much different. And well, as they start living with Pike and Jordan obviously start to get to know more of each other. Since Cole is never there, they have to talk to someone. So they talk with each other, start getting to knowing each other, and we get to know that Jordan's car is like in really bad shape, and Cole is supposed to be taking care of it, but he really isn't. So Pike kind of takes the lead and goes into working on it, even buys things like out of his money to make the car work. And on a certain day, after like a really hard partying day, Pike wants Cole to go help him on his job site because he just needs his help with some sandbags. But Cole is so hungover that Jordan actually says that she can go, and that's what they do. They go to work together. In there, Pike kind of gets to see that she's not afraid to work. She's a very hardworking girl, and basically we have this building up of the story there. Building up of a connection, dare I say. And in the meantime, we get some of Pike's POVs, and they start talking about Cole's mom. So, Cole's mom is insane. Let me tell you that. She got pregnant at 19, but she was always partying after giving birth to Cole. And Pike was also never actually together with her. That was just like a thing that happened once. A thing that happened, but like they weren't in a relationship or anything. And in the present, they still talk to each other and they still call each other for some fun timesies. So that was the weirdest part of this book. I'm like, no way this is true. There's no way. The mom, like we know that Pike knows that the mom was always putting Cole against Pike because, yeah, that's her insane behavior. Since Cole is never home, Pike and Jordan start to be more with each other. And one day, she's on the garden, taking care of the garden, and she's wearing like shorts and like probably like a tighter shirt. And Pike sees his neighbor watching her, and he's like, goes out and is like, "What are you doing? That's supposed to be Cole's job. If Cole is not doing, I will do it." And she's like, "No, I can totally do that." Like, and he's like, "No, my neighbor is looking at you because you're wearing those clothes." And then they start arguing, and he gets jealous out of nowhere. And then I remember that she goes into the pool window in those side clothes. It's really funny. She's literally a brat. Love my girl Jordan for that. So yeah, they go into this back and forth, like arguing, and then there's a scene, chapter 4, I think, where like the house has 3 rooms, and the bathroom on Jordan's and Cole's room is like, I don't know, it's going under something, and they have to take a shower on Pike's. And then she starts having her fun time scenes on the shower, and she pictures Pike instead of her boyfriend is son. So yeah, I had to highlight that. I'm not going too much into it, but I needed to highlight that scene because what the hell. There's more days obviously that she's working, and there's a specific day she's working, needs to go home, and she sees Cole's car, goes to it, and there's Jay inside of it. Amazing. And then he starts talking like, you know, Cole was so drunk, I just had to be me picking you up. And she's like, no, absolutely not. And she runs back into the bar, and she sleeps into the bar in a pool table. You know where you play pool? Yeah, that's where she sleeps. But that night, Pike called Jordan to see if everything was okay, because he called Cole but he didn't answer, so he called Jordan, and she was like, yeah, everything's fine, I'm here with Cole, when she obviously wasn't. Everything is okay. So the next day, Cole gets home, and Pike is like, what is your girlfriend? And he's like, she's here, I think. Someone picked her up from her job. No, nobody picked her up. Pike went to see her room, and everything was, like, bed was made and everything. So you know what Pike does? He goes to the bar where she works and calls her all the beautiful things. No, horrific. He goes there and he's like, you're cheating on my son. If you're cheating on my son, I don't want anyone like you living in my house, and whatever. And she obviously gets mad, but she doesn't really answer back, so what the fuck. And then she goes into like inside of the bar, somewhere you cannot really go, and her boss, Miss Shell, she's wow, I really liked her. She appeared total of 3 times and I really liked her. Miss Shell, she's like, you know what, this is the hard working girl I have here, and I came here in this morning and she was sleeping on the pool table because she didn't want to call you or anyone to pick her up because she didn't want to feel like a burden, whatever. And yeah, he goes to her and they talk and whatever, everything is fine. You can see this book is literally the most insane thing ever. And then we see more scenes in the house. We have a scene where she goes and takes his lunch to his job because he forgot, whatever. More filler scenes. We're gonna talk about that in the future because filler scenes in this book, ugh, too many. And another day, another sleigh. Another day, there's like a storm going on and Pike needs people to help on the construction because I think the river is gonna flood. I'm not sure about what happens there. And yeah, he needs help, and you know who goes to help? Jordan. Jordan goes to help. Oh, but I forgot to tell you something. That before this day that he needs help. Jordan gets home and she looks at the pool through the kitchen window and Cole is cheating on her with another girl. That was insane. And Pike, like he came downstairs to get some water or whatever, and he saw that and he literally made the craziest argument. It was insane. So yeah, what happened was that Cole left home and he went to live with this girl that he was cheating on. Insane. He went to live with her and Jordan stayed there at the house for like 1 or 2 days. And then that day there's a storm coming and they go like help into the construction site, and after that they go mudding like on the car, whatever, and they get all dirty. And Pike literally says, oh, I didn't need to be doing that, but yeah, we're just doing it. And it's like them on the garden like cleaning themselves with the water, and like there's tension and there's this and that and whatever, and then Cole appears. That scene was the most anticlimactic thing I've read. I was gonna say I've seen because what the fuck, but that I've read. So yeah, she hides herself because she's like, oh my god, what the fuck, la la la. And yeah, Cole is just there to pick up some things and saying that Jordan can stay there, you know. But obviously Jordan doesn't want to stay there because that's not our house, that's not our family. The next day, I think it's the next day, if not the next, in a few days, she gets all of her things like in a box to go to her father's because that's the only place she has to go. And Pike says he's gonna take her because their car is not done yet, so he takes her. And when they're getting there, like the place is really not good. It's not a good environment. Not the best people. There's like her stepbrother. He says some weird. This book has some weird misogynistic phrases and dialogue and things that really bother me. But like that's one of the trigger warnings when you first open the book. So yeah, but her brother, stepbrother, whatever, says some things that's like insane. So Pike sees all the things that's going on. She doesn't even have a bed to sleep on. He's like, you're staying in my house until you can pay for an apartment for yourself, because I cannot see this happening. Like, this is not gonna happen with me knowing it. There's like, they go to the house and they live in the house, and she says like she wants to pay at least for one of the bills, like gas bill or whatever, water bill, whatever. She wants to pay for one of them, and Pike's like, but you're here to save money, to live in your own house, and if you do that, you're not gonna get enough money. And she's like, no, let me at least pay one. And yeah, she pays for one of the bills. Don't really remember which one, but she pays for one. And there are some filling scenes there. More filling scenes, yes. And there's a lot of like tension building up, and they have an argument. And I don't remember which argument it is because there's too many. And she goes like, at the end of the argument, she goes like, yes, daddy. And I'm like, what? I think I have that underlined somewhere. I have some quotes that I'm gonna read to you by the end because they're so funny. I love them. Well, I don't know what it is, but I know they have an argument, and she's like, yes, daddy, at the end of it. And I'm like, period, girl. You go, girl. But yeah, a lot of arguments, a lot of things, a lot of tension being built. And one day, she gets home from, I don't know if it's from her job or just from hanging out. And there's this woman, April. She's known for like fucking off of the town. So she listens to her and Pike having a conversation in the basement, and she's like jealous. Like jealousy comes over to her head. So she's like slamming doors, slamming the like washing machine, putting air music like crazy on the last volume, like insane. And then April listens to that and sees that and is like, okay, I'm leaving. We can do this another time. And then Pike goes to a room and they like bicker. They argue again. I think it's in the scene. I'm not sure if it's on the scene, but I know like they are talking to each other, whatever, and she's like, you wanna, I don't know which words I can say on YouTube, but okay. She says like, you wanna fuck me, whatever. So it's not like you're not gonna compensate being with other people. Like if you're not being with me, you're not gonna be satisfied. That's kind of what she says. And he's like, yeah, but this cannot happen, whatever. And then she says the craziest, most insane thing again. She's like, I'm gonna use my vibrator that's like has bigger balls than you. And I'm like, girl. Okay, girl. Okay. She's a bit annoying. I'm not gonna lie to you. She is a bit annoying. And then you know what? Then they fuck. And after that, it's like 5 chapters of that. Like, they are so meaningless. Like, they're there. If they weren't there, if there was only like 1 or 2, it would be the same story. Like, they have no meaning to it. But yeah, after those 5 smut chapters, a problem starts to arise. Is that Jordan wants Pike to tell people that he's with her. Like, she doesn't want him to be ashamed, and she wants him to tell Cole. Oh my god, the world is insane. Pike starts spiraling because he lives in like this neighborhood with like families and everything, and is like, people are gonna think that what am I doing with a 19-year-old? I'm 38, whatever. Starts going insane on his head. So then more feeling scenes happen, and for some reason Jay, the ex-boyfriend, gets into the house. And I don't remember the scene very well. I don't know why. Like, I literally read this book 2 weeks ago, but I'm also lacking a lot of sleep, so that could be it. But I know I just know because I wrote it down. Jay gets into the house. He's like, oh, you've broken up with Cole, now you can be with me, let's do this revenge, whatever. And she's like, ew, no. And then she threatens him with some Caesars, whatever. And then I think he stays in the house and he listens to a conversation that she has with Pike, saying like, oh, we should tell Cole that we're together. And that was very confusing to me. And could be because English is not my first language and I read everything in English, so maybe that's a comprehension issue for me. But I think Jay didn't tell Cole. But maybe he did. Maybe he did. I'm so confused. Maybe he did tell Cole, and because in my head, Cole had seen them together. I think that's how it happened. I think he went to their house and he saw them together. Yeah. I think it was definitely that. But okay. You're more confused than I am. Probably not. But yeah, that happens. Cole finds out that Jordan and Pike have been together. They all get mad. Jordan leaves to another state. Cole goes to the Navy, and Pike is spiraling. Pike starts doing the whole house, like every single room of the house is being done differently. Spiraling. And 2 months after, we get like another chapter that says 2 months after. Cole is back from the Navy, and he has a conversation with Pike that's probably the most important scene in this book for me. And it's Cole appreciating the things Pike gave up to have that child, to like make his childhood good. Like all the things he missed to go to his like school things or whatever. And Cole is really appreciative of that. And I think that's like a really big character development from who he was in the beginning into who he is now. That was cool. And he was like, Pike says like, Jordan asks, Jordan, what the fuck? Cole asks, have you seen Jordan? Is everything okay with Jordan? And Pike says, I think she's better off without me. And then they continue the conversation, and at the end of the chapter, Cole says, nobody's better off without you. And that was so important. That was something that changed Pike's mentality towards the situation. So that was very important. I loved it. Thank you. After that, Pike goes to Cam, Jordan's sister. He asks her, and she's like, leave her alone. She's been calling me. She's fine. And he keeps asking, and she's like, okay, I know she's in this state. I don't know which state it is, though. Cole and Pike also got a tattoo together. I was reading here now. Really cool. But yeah, Pike goes to Jordan's room because her things are still there. She left with very little things. And she has this jar where she has like her dreams. And it's really cute. That is really cute. Let me see here. Pike goes to Kim, and she says that she doesn't know exactly where she is, but she could possibly be in Virginia because she has spent somewhere there, she has friends there, and yeah. She's working in a hotel, I think. No, motel, sorry. She's working in this motel in Virginia, but she doesn't know the name or anything. She probably does know the name. She just said, you have to find out. If you really like her, you're going to find out. So Pike goes to Virginia and searches every single motel there. And he finds Jordan. And it's so anticlimactic as well because they talk for 3 seconds and everything is fine again. Basically, they talk in 3 seconds and they're like, yeah, okay, I'm going back to live with you. Yay. Literally. That's what happens. After being back, everything is okay, everything's settled. We have a chapter that's 1 year later where Pike asks Jordan to get married. And he asks if she wants to have kids. And she says, yeah, like 1. And if that's okay. And Pike's like, yeah, it's okay. Whatever. And then we have a prologue that is 9 years later. I was 9! And you cannot do this to me. No. You cannot do this to me because 9 years? 9? No. Well, in that prologue, they have had a child. He's 6. I think she's pregnant with a second child. And they are also taking care of Cole's son, because Cole found I think it's a Japanese girl, but I'm not sure. He found himself a girlfriend, wife, not sure. And they also had a boy, and Pike and Jordan taking care of that boy. And we get to know that Jordan has her own business on like landscape things. That's what she studied. And that's basically how the story ends. It's really bad. The ending, it's bad. But I settled on giving this book 3.5 stars because in the beginning, Pike was really sweet. Like, I was like, wow. He said so many sweet things in his POVs. I was just like, wow, that is amazing. But we need to talk. This book has so many filler scenes. You could take 100 pages of this book and it would be the same story. The exact same one. It's that. That is bothering me. What else? Also, we have to take responsibility in the things that we read and the things that we say. And this book has a 19-year age gap. She's 19. He's 38. And it's complicated. Age gaps are fine, as well as the people have the great mentality in them. And at 19, I don't know. I wouldn't say you are the most mature person in the world. But if she were 23, I would have accepted this book slightly bit better. Because it would be the forbidden thing, because it's my boyfriend's dad, but it would be a slightly older head thinking about it. So yeah, be responsible about the things you do and about the things you read, okay? This book is not really considered, I wouldn't consider it a smut erotica book, because it has 5 scenes of it and it's not that insane. So this book is more about drama. And yeah, there's a storyline about the best friend. The 3 of them have the same scar. We get to know absolutely nothing about it. I wanted to know. I know he's dead. The other guy's dead. We don't know anything else. And I wish we could. That's a lack there. That's a hole in the story. But what else? Regarding the filler scenes, I think a lot of Penelope Douglas books have some filler scenes, but it's not I think this one bothered me a lot because they weren't doing nothing. They were doing nothing. Some of the scenes that I've read that were filler in other books were okay, I could see where she's kind of driving you to. Here, a bit harder to get there. But I think that was my main experience with Birthday Girl. I think the characters are great. I know a lot of people say they're so rude with each other. They're so this. I like that. Not every character needs to be the sweet, kind people, but I think they were nice characters. Now, I have obviously underlined a lot of things. Forgot to tell you, Pike got a tattoo with Cole. Not with Cole, he just got a tattoo at the same time as Cole. And he got a candle tattoo because every time Jordan blows a candle, she asks for a wish. And he did get that tattooed. That was cool. So, now let's get into some of the quotes that I underlined. One of them is about her annoying ass talking about the 80s. She's okay, it's not this one. It's this one. She's the 80s were fantastic. It's a whole decade of just good fun. Not everything had to have a meaning or be deep. It's a welcome escape, especially tonight. That's the night of her birthday. Seriously, that's annoying. Okay, then I also underlined beautiful things Pike was saying about her. I think it's her here. She says, No, he says. I think it's him. Well, someone says it's hard to find that one person who speaks your language. So that was cool. I really like that. Okay, then there's one different color of post-it that I used because this is very Gen Z of her. She says, "You are so old school. The alpha possessive keep your daughter locked up with a shotgun thing is insulting. I'm an idiot and you are not my father." And then I think that's like when she also says like, "Yes, daddy." I think that's here. That's in this argument. But well, very cute. Let me see what I dog-eared. Oh, about the tattoo, he said, "The birthday girl and her wishes, she'll always be part of me." And I also dog-eared something else. What is this? "You look at each other like the two of you have your own language." Wow. A lot of things about language. But yeah, enough of today. I hope you guys liked my telling you my telling of birthday girl. Very confused because I was confused and I was telling you and I read the book. Imagine you who haven't read it and just listening to this. Insane. But yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. I could do this more often if you guys like it. Please leave me a like, subscribe, and I'll probably see you next week. Bye bye.